I just want to read a little bit before we really get into it. Talks about find the hurt and heal it, find the void and fill it, find the problem and solve it. Establish a new set of criteria for our As-Sabiqun recruits. It must be understood that although we have been inspired by past Islamic movements here in the U.S., we are now navigating through uncharted territory with unconventional methods which have never been seen in the history of movements. We've been in a new arena for a long time. Well, we'll just try to keep going instead of going back. In the U.S., as we recruit new members and supporters, there are some things to be kept in mind. Our experience is an asset. Recruits must learn about and understand our history and experience. Recruits must understand the implications of the air war, which we are engaged in. Recruits will be provided with certain materials to study and review. The struggle of the Islamic movement teaches those involved how to grow and improve. Those who truly develop a taste for this struggle enjoy an optimistic life outlook. They view challenges as opportunities. I'm going to skip a little bit. A large part of our work at this time is to counter the Zionist global terror network, because that's what we'll be dealing with a little bit. This is not a new struggle. We've been in this. We've been knowing what our struggle, the basis of it, for decades. But we had to arrange some things to allow everybody to play their part, to do what they do, and to be as they are, and for them to get comfortable doing what they're doing. Have you noticed the Zionists kill Palestinians, bomb and slaughter, and they're comfortable with it? Right? I mean, they don't feel like, you don't see any feeling of sadness or discomfort, or even if they ran over an animal in the street, they would stop their car and go back and look at it, see what happened. Even they slaughter Palestinians. There's no problem. They instigate the world. What's happening in Yemen, Saudi Arabia, who are these? These are non-humans. Or they have a human face, but they're satanic in their behavior. I mean, real satanic. You have to be pretty mean to starve little babies where their arms is like your fingers. You have to be, you have to be different. You have to be, there has to be that second stage of growth where you become a human being. Nafs lawama, where you become conscious. You develop a conscious. You don't win all the time on your conscious. You have a conscious, but that don't mean you win all the time. You don't get to be a straight record of wins till you get to nafs al-mutmainah. When you, nafs lawama, when you become conscious, self-accusing spirit, that means something in you puts a check on your behavior to remind you. That's what it is, right? The Zionists, they're not being reminded by themselves. In fact, they're going out of the way. In fact, we would go so far as to say is exactly the program that Adolf Hitler had for them, Zionists, they practice exactly the same thing right? If you attack one Zionist, they'll kill 200 of you. Yeah, that's what Nazis did. Nazis in occupation, whether it was Poland, wherever it was, if you kill one Nazi, they'll roll on you. They'll line up everybody on the wall and shoot them. This is the behavior of a non-conscious being. We just call it some kind of being. They're being, but they're not human beings because they're human being in form, in voice, in appearance. But a human being, you become human when you're dealing with nafs samara. You're just an animal like all other animals. I want it hot in the winter and I want it cool in the summer. I want my nafs to be right. I want it like that. When you reach the point of nafs lawama, that's when you become conscious of right and wrong. You don't always win the struggle, but you are reminded of what's right and what's wrong. You are now a conscious human being. What kind of consciousness do Saudis have? Right? What type of conscious does the Zionist, not the Jewish Zionist, we make it clear, Zionist. Because, well, you've heard the Zionists, the Jews, the fur hat wearers, and you've read some of their literature. Boy, when they talk about them guys, it's like murderers and thieves. And they hijacked. Hey man, they talk, it's personal. They hijacked the religion. And the stuff they say, those swine eaters, they talk about, I said, man, I ain't gonna talk about them like that, because then I sound racist, you know what I mean? But good God Almighty. Anyway, let's get on where we're going. This is not a conspiracy, but reality. In the Islamic struggle, we must be ready to rise to the level necessary to achieve our goals. Be prepared to sleep under a bridge. We are deliberately setting up an environment in which each member or supporter will keep an eye on everyone around the leadership. No one will be spared. Those who wish to contribute must be willing to work in this environment of suspicion and mistrust, or don't work. This is a trap right here. I hope nobody's ever experienced this, because we've never practiced it here. What I mean is, we never treated nobody like, what you up to, man? Who sent you here? Right? But that's what we told, that's what we got right here. This is way up in 2010. We way into psychological, we 30 years into it or more of setting them up. Because everything we have done over the decades, we have set them up. And this is a period of reaping the benefits of the last stage of us setting them up to behave a certain way, right? Remember, we don't have little or nothing. Nobody's coming by and waving at us and stuff. They're paying attention back in the corner, but they don't want nobody to know. We ain't paying no attention to Imam Musa and them, and all them brothers over there, they can go to hell. We don't care nothing about them. No, Lord. They want to make people know that, And people that were here, they found some reason to disappear. They pack up and they gone. You never see us go chasing after them. What did we do? Man, what did we do wrong? We know we haven't done nothing wrong. Because we repeat this redundancy of repetition over and over and over and over again. It's a wonderful thing. So, okay. Play a role in the Earth Liberation Movement. Strategic management under conditions of repression. Psychological guerrilla warfare. Harass, disturb, and produce imbalance and arrogance so as to accelerate the decline of the West. It's not that we're guessing, and we're definitely not wrong. If this is 10 or 12 years old right here, or a little more, harass them, make fun of them, destabilize them psychologically, or a purposeful decline. So that don't mean they're going to know where it's coming from, right? But all these things we talk about, the behavior of the West, okay, if it was a few years ago, if they was in Iraq, and we love everybody in Iraq, and all of a sudden they pack up and they gotta go, and they leave Iraq. They leave a few people there, but they gone after destroying the whole country. 2003 all the way up to a few years ago. Roadside bombs, IUDs, and all that. Do you remember seeing any films of how fast they used to drive? They would look like they're going 85 or 90. So if the bomb blasts go off, it'll just get the back of them or something like that. Man, I'm telling you. Okay, now us, as a group of people, we have to weigh and measure the things in our environment, and we have to use guerrilla warfare is when you use the things in your environment. And the environment is totally against us. Everything, I mean, the society is not, but I mean, what's in everybody else's possession. If we got one, they got 99 things. You know what I mean? Therefore, we have to use that one. And we could use that one, and we're accurate, and we're constant, and we repeat repetitive, we do it over and over again. Eventually, we're going to wear them down. But they think they're going to wear us down. And we have to depend on that. Because remember, what do we always talk about? We got enough for 500 rounds. We got enough. That's big boss man. But boss man is not used to long-range fights. Why? Because he beats everybody else up. When he get into anything long-range, he gets sad and discombobulated. The Korean War was only 3 years, and it run him crazy. And they didn't even sign a peace treaty. They just said goodbye. That's just 3 years. Even the wars in Europe, when he got big in World War II, he was over here 3,000 miles. No bombs ever dropped on America. A couple of atmospheric bombs from Japan that they used to send up in them balloons, they dropped in Oregon out in the woods somewhere. But they never sustained, America never sustained systematic bombing like B-17s, B-29s all day long. They never sustained those V-2 rockets. So over here, they could train and develop from their resource base, and they could send everybody over there, and all of that was destroyed. So America is never, he might have been the heavyweight champion, but he ain't never had to fight nobody. When he fought the Indians, what are the chances they ever have? I mean, realistically. When he come into World War I, everybody's tired. 1914 to 1917, everybody is tired. He comes in 1917, 1918, war's over, right? World War II even. The Japanese was fighting the Chinese back in 1931, and then named Manchuria, Manchukuo, and then rape of Nanking, 1937. So now you're talking about when China has been fighting all along, but they didn't had 20 years of tussling by the time World War II, technically. Well, 10, 15 years. But they hold on and they make it, and they have their long march and they do what they, but the United States didn't do that. Remember in Vietnam, just let's say 63 or 64 to 67, they didn't tire. Hey man, this is